Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, the new brand in sports entertainment. We're wrestling and proud of it. And now, the hottest new podcast in the world. This is Awesome. Your host, Chris Graham.
This is Awesome. Hey, I'm Chris Graham, your host. A fun show for you here. We got Tully Blanchard, member of the legendary Four Horsemen. If you know anything about wrestling, I'm sure you know about the Four Horsemen and their reign of terror in the NWA back in the 80s and early 90s. And Tully was one of the key members of that group, of course, former U.S. champion, former national heavyweight champion, former world TV champion in the NWA, also a former NWA and WWE tag team champion. So looking forward to talking with Tully. Wow, there's so much to talk about with him. For me, my earliest memories as a wrestling fan include his Starrcade 85 match with Magnum TA, that I Quit match that just, had my attention for weeks leading up to it. That night, I watched it 100 times on VHS at that time. And look forward to talking with Tully maybe about that, about the fact that he and Arn Anderson were the only tag teams to win both the NWA and WWE tag team titles. And, I was a big fan of those guys back in the day, so I can't wait to talk with Tully about all that. And of course, he's going to be on our EWE Awesome Night of Legends show coming up October 15th in Fishersville, Virginia, Augusta Expo. And Tully will be there signing autographs, meeting and greeting fans. And, boy, great opportunity to just talk again about wrestling and legends and, celebrate a great legend in Tully Blanchard. So that's coming up on the show. And then a little later, we'll talk with, have some audio actually from Ricky Morton. He's done an interview series with us, and we're running the interviews on our AWE website and Facebook page. That's AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com, and then Facebook.com/AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment. And we're running a series of interviews that we did with Ricky here in the AWE offices last week, talking about his big upcoming match at that AWE Awesome Night of Legends, where Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, will take on Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson. And so we're about halfway through our series now, and we'll share some audio and use that as a point to just talk more about the big matches coming up there. So we've got that. We've got, of course, again, Tully Blanchard. We'll talk about the big signing this week. Lita will be coming to our Awesome Night of Legends show. We'll talk about that a little bit later coming up. And so a lot going on right now here in AWE. This is Awesome.
This is Sanjay Dutt, the original player from the Himalaya. And when I get in the ring, you know what I hear? I always hear, "This is awesome."
Wrestling fans, AWE's Awesome Night of the Legends, Saturday night, October the 15th, the Augusta Expo land in Fishersville, Virginia. The final countdown has begun. The main event, the most talked about match in the wrestling world. You're going to see the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, go face-to-face with Doug Gibson and Big Daddy Cool. That's right, Big Sexy Diesel Kevin Nash. You're also going to see in action Fit Finlay against Alex Silva. Hacksaw Jim Duggan takes on Muhammad Akbar. A hardcore three-way dance as Abo Shango, C.W. Anderson all go against the hardcore legend himself, Terry Funk. You're going to see Divas, Sonny, Gorgeous George, Baby Doll, and the three-time WCW champion, Diamond Dallas Page. It's Awesome Night of the Legends, Saturday night, October the 15th, the Augusta Expo in Fishersville, Virginia. Get your tickets online while they last. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. And remember, fans, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be awesome.
You all know who it is. It's everybody's favorite superstar, Carlito. And Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. Now that Carlito's here, can not only say it's awesome, but can also say it's cool.
Joining us is Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard is signed to appear at autograph shows with the AWE in September and October, associated with our Night of the Legends show in October at Augusta Expo Land, and also in Woodstock in September. So Tully, thanks for joining us, and tell us just about what you're going to be doing at those shows.
I have done autograph shows for the last 20 years, and thought that this was going to be one very, very similar to coming and greeting wrestling fans and sitting there and being able to talk to them and sign autographs and sign their memorabilia. And now after the contract's already signed and your agreements to come and travel and be there are already signed, that's not exactly the whole truth. Marvin Ward, who I think owns the AWE, or is the promoter, or both, Vince McMahon of independent wrestling, wants to talk about my contemporaries, people that I have wrestled all over the country, people that I have wrestled. Arn Anderson and I wrestled the Rock and Roll Express in the Greensboro Coliseum for one, if not the only, 1 hour match for the World Tag Team Championships inside a cage. One of the most hard-fought battles ever. And 18,000 people watched it. And that lets you know just exactly how important and what kind of a person you are in that business, because if your name is on the marquee and there are no people in the seats, then you are not the star, and you are not the man that you say you are. So to say, when you have not walked a mile in anybody's shoes, or know how anybody's name got on the marquee, or how Arn Anderson and myself were the first tag team ever, and there's only been 2 in the history ever be World Tag Team Champions with the NWA and then with the WWE, for someone in Shenandoah or Fishersville or the Valley or what part of Virginia that is to start cracking and tell me or tell wrestling fans all over the world that I was carried by the other Horsemen wants to make me vomit. Now, if you want to hear some passion and you want to hear somebody get excited, then yes, because what started out sincere and something that could have been fun for everybody has now turned into something that is a little bit more personal. And you can take that for what it's worth, Mr. Interviewer or Marvin Ward, but I'm going to tell you what, you only know the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg of what you watched when you were a young man on television, of what the capabilities and the manipulation and the power that Tully Blanchard has. You have not even seen anything. I have forgotten more, and in the words of Wahoo McDaniels, one of the legends that's moved on, I've got more shower time than you got ring time. Marvin Ward, you have opened up a door and you have created a storm that I do not think that you can handle. Now, I have signed the contract. I will be there to sign the autographs. As I told you on the telephone, I'm too old to wrestle. Nobody wants to watch me wrestle anymore. But I will tell you what, I have got something in store that will be mind-boggling, and it will be a throwback to the 1980s. I can promise you that.
We're talking here with Tully Blanchard, wrestling legend, member of the Four Horsemen, former NWA and WWE Tag Team Champion, as you mentioned, also U.S. Champion, National Champion, stellar career for Tully in the business. And you mentioned, Tully, the interview that Marvin Ward did where he was mentioning some of his likes and dislikes in wrestling. He also, I recall in the interview, of course, Ricky Morton, and a lot of controversy here in AWE over that interview. Ricky Morton raising some controversy. Certainly, we've seen a challenge thrown down by Doug Gibson and Kevin Nash towards Rick and a partner. It sounds like you've got similar animosity as Ricky has had over the past few weeks regarding that interview.
Well, I don't have animosity over the interview. I have animosity towards the manipulation and the untruth of trying to lure me into a situation that is going to potentially embarrass me and a profession that I am second generation. My dad started wrestling in 1954, started me in wrestling in the mid to late 70s, 1977, when I graduated from college, and I made a living, and my life went along, and the wrestling business grew out of proportion like nothing had ever been seen back in the 80s, when Ricky and I and Flair and the Horsemen and the Road Warriors and the contemporaries of that time carried this business to a new height never, ever reached before. And for somebody that has never been in Madison Square Gardens, for somebody that has never been on the main event in the Greensboro Coliseum at Starrcade, to want to crack on somebody, it is a pardon me for being just a little bit speechless, but it's a slap in the face. It is an absolute insult. But what I thought was going to be a tribute to legends to come up there to be ridiculed, I am not going to play that game. Now, I have signed the contract. I will come. I will be there. Live and exciting color. But I can promise you, I still know things. I still know people. I still know how things operate. And Marvin Ward, you do not know what you have done.
We're talking with Tully Blanchard here, and so Tully, you mentioned you were signed to come and participate in the autograph sessions. It sounds like you might have more in store. I mean, maybe I'm reading that wrong, but what else may be in store as far as that goes? Your appearances in September and October.
Well, just know that I'll be there, and then what I have in store, we'll just say it's going to be a surprise. How about that?
This is Jimmy Yang, your Asian redneck, and this is awesome. Yeehaw!
Big Sexy Kevin Nash, October 15th. That's right, at the Augusta Expo Center in Fishersville, Virginia. It's AWE's night. Oh no, not just any night. Awesome night of legends. Be there. I will be.
Follow Awesome Wrestling Entertainment on Facebook. Get up-to-the-minute breaking news, videos, and tell us what you want to see. Because at Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, it's the fans that matter. Follow us on Facebook, and remember, this is awesome.
Okay, I did not expect that interview with Tully Blanchard to go in the direction that it did, to say the least. Tully obviously taking offense at comments made by AWE CEO Marvin Ward, and that was sort of the awkwardness of that interview. I didn't anticipate that coming out of sort of left field. So I apologize for not being able to corral that interview back to where I wanted to go, which was a celebration of Tully Blanchard's career. Maybe we'll get him back on a show. In fact, we'll work to get Tully back on a show in the next week or two, so we can see if we can talk about. Tully's he's a significant player in wrestling history. Now it's just a reference what Tully's talking about there, and what he's I guess upset about, as you can tell. Comments made by AWE CEO Marvin Ward in an interview a couple of months ago, where Marvin said maybe he thought Tully Blanchard was the least of the Four Horsemen, and you can argue that. I mean, that's sort of what makes for the fun of talking sports. Is you can argue Tully Blanchard versus Art Anderson versus Ric Flair versus Lex Luger or Barry Windham, all the members of the Horsemen that were there in the past. Which one was the best, which one maybe was the least. I mean, that's the kind of thing you discuss in bar rooms, and when you're sitting around the table at night and trying to just chat away the evening. Maybe some things come up. In any case, Tully Blanchard taking offense again at those comments made by Marvin Ward. I can understand why, perhaps, but the interview got away from us there a little bit, and Tully was upset with us. So hopefully we'll corral him back and get him to talk some more about that autograph signing that's coming up. He will be there, as he mentioned. He will be there at the AWE Awesome Night of Legends. Now let's switch gears. Another big important part of our AWE Awesome Night of Legends, October 15th in Fishersville, Virginia, at Augusta Expo. Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express, and Ricky. Of course, he's going to be involved in that big tag team match, Rock and Roll Express, against Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson. And Ricky sat down with us last week for a series of video interviews. We recorded 5 segments, and we addressed a lot of important topics. And today, as if you're listening to this when the podcast debuts on Tuesday, today we ran the part of the series of interviews where Ricky was addressing his interesting comments that have been made about Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson in the context of, a long career as a fan favorite in professional wrestling. A babyface, as they say, using the wrestling terminology. But Ricky Morton has definitely been, looked at as one of the more upstanding guys in pro wrestling. And, some of his fan base have had some questions about Ricky and his harsh language and his characterizations and such involving in this Kevin Nash-Doug Gibson feud that he's injected himself into. So we had a question about that. We wanted to ask Ricky straight up, do you have a message to your fans out there regarding your recent actions and attitudes vis-a-vis your long-term standing relationship with your fans?
Guys, I love you. I stand up for you. I stand up for every independent wrestler, every independent promotion. And I always tell them, and I tell the guys, the young guys there's the fans. There's the ones. That's why when I wrestle independent, I know I'm an older man, but I keep myself in shape. I don't care if there's 50 fans or if there's 50,000. I go out and I give you 100% of what I got every night. And I hope that you appreciate it. And I hope that you enjoy it. And I guess that's why you keep coming back. But if I insulted anybody out there, of the fans, of what I said, I deeply apologize, because that's not me. I was just trying to make a statement.
Interesting commentary there from Ricky Morton. On the one hand, he's sorry for his, for what he's said to his fans. He wants to apologize. On the other hand, no apologies to Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson. So we're working to get official comment from Doug Gibson, Marvin Ward, the AWE CEO, who's involved in his tag team match, and has been the recipient of, part of at least the back and forth between him and Nash and Ricky Morton. This has not been family friendly, to say the least, and now Ricky Morton seems to be playing both sides of the debate here a little bit, trying to talk out the one side of his mouth about how he loves his fans and wants to still be the happy-go-lucky Ricky that everybody's loved for 30 years. On the other hand, he's the badass who has had a lot of things to say that have been very much pushing the envelope. So, the talk around the AWE offices here, and I've not talked with Marvin directly about this, but the talk around the offices here is that there's a feeling on the part of Marvin and Kevin Nash that Ricky's being a bit disingenuous in his public stance here. So we'll address that with Marvin. We'll try to address that maybe next week. We'll see if we can get Marvin to sit down for an interview. So that'll be coming up. But hey, coming up in the next segment, in our closing segment of our show here, we'll talk about some big news that we announced this week regarding the signing of another legend for our Night of the Legends show, Lita, WWE Diva, former 4-time WWE Women's Champion. And Lita will be joining us. We'll talk more about that coming up. This is Awesome.
My name is Jamin Olivencia, and this is Awesome.
The most amazing, no, the most awesome wrestling website in the world, AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Up-to-the-minute news, videos, informational live events, purchase tickets, get your merchandise, all just a click away. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Tell your friends this is awesome.
You want to be a pro wrestler? You've got to learn how to do the craft. AWE has such a place. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Check it out and check out what might be in store for you.
Wrapping our show here, we had Tully Blanchard on this show, and we'll try to get Tully back on again soon. Tully taking umbrage at comments made by Marvin Ward, AWE CEO, a little bit ago regarding, a number of things, but specifically regarding Tully and his role in the Four Horsemen. So we wanted to talk with Tully about his appearance at our AWE Awesome Night of Legends show, and also about his career. And we'll try to get Tully back on. I think we will. We've already put a feeler out, actually, here just after we got off the phone, had some assistance as we, got back in touch with Tully, and I think there is a sense that we're going to try to do this again. So, Tully talking with us on the show today. Also, Ricky Morton, some more audio from Ricky from his ongoing video interview series. We shared some audio and talked about that. Now, some other big news of the week. We had announcement this week that 4-time former WWE Women's Champion Lita will be joining us at the AWE Awesome Night of the Legends. And check out our website for more news on that. There's a button on the in the upper right corner of the website, and it's on all the pages there where you can actually click and get a VIP experience, meet Lita, and get a chance for pictures and autographs and everything else at the AWE Awesome Night of the Legends show. So, but big news, Lita coming to town, and she'll be just another great legend on our card. Kevin Nash, Diamond Dallas Page, Lita, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Tully Blanchard. Gosh, I'm starting to list the guys and gals. Sonny, Baby Doll, and I'm going to leave somebody out, so I'm sure that somebody's going to be offended at me now. But just a huge card coming up October 15th at Augusta Expo in Fishersville, Virginia. So Lita's going to be joining us, and I'm teasing. I teased last week to what became the news about Lita. We've got one more big tease for you, and a little bit later this week we'll be announcing another, well, let's see, what can I give away here? Former WWE champion, former ECW champion, and a legendary wrestler will be joining us. And that's pretty much all I can say right now, but we have another big announcement this week. And that card keeps getting bigger and bigger. AWE Awesome Night of Legends. That's October 15th, Fishersville, Virginia. And, we have one more bit of news this week for you. Who knows what we'll have next week. But this week we have one more bit of news, and we'll be sharing that with you. I think it's either Wednesday or Thursday this week. We'll see when we get the final, the T's crossed and the I's dotted, as they say, and get that news out to you. And, we want to share with you, of course, please, AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Awesome Wrestling Entertainment on Facebook. We're nearing the 20,000 fan mark now on Facebook, and just thanks to all the people who love AWE. We can't wait to bring you, our live action, September 17th, Woodstock, Virginia Central High School, and then October 15th, Fishersville, Virginia, Augusta Expo. We're working, as we announced on our Facebook page this week, on a TV show with the goal of having a TV show up either late this year or early next year, certainly, to have weekly programming to share with you on TV and also online, and be able to share with you, our approach to wrestling. We're wrestling and we're proud of it. And we have a great mix of legends wrestlers and up-and-coming stars and some established, current modern-day stars. I mean, we have this great mix of guys and gals who just can't wait to put on these shows for you. We're putting everything together behind the scenes. We've been feverishly working at this for the last several months, and we're not too far away from having some huge news to share with you in that respect, but gotta leave it at that for right now. But we just want to thank you for helping put us in this position. So please continue to follow us on Facebook at Awesome Wrestling Entertainment on Facebook, and then also our AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com website. We keep that up to date with everything going on in the world of professional wrestling through AWE. So, I want to thank you for listening, and as always, and we'll be back with you once again pretty soon with another This Is Awesome podcast. I'm Chris Graham signing off. This is Awesome.
AWE, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, and This Is Awesome. Content copyright 2011 and exclusive property of TWF Enterprises, all rights reserved. More information online at AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com.